People slept 6 hours for 2 weeks. By the end, they could barely think, like after 2 nights without a sleep. But they felt fine, just a little tired. That gap between how broken you are and how broken you feel is the most dangerous thing about being short on sleep, because you cannot fix the problem you cannot see. Here is one idea this video is about. You can't make up sleep. What I mean, the sleep debt doesn't work the way you think. Let me start with something scientists don't really say out loud. We still don't know why we sleep. A third of our life we spent unconscious, unprotected, defenseless, and we really need this mechanism. And evolution wouldn't keep that if it didn't matter. But what happens in a sleep is still an open question. Yes, we have few theories, but I'll skip them because we don't know why we sleep, but we know for sure what will happen to our body if we don't. Scientists actually measured everything about sleep deprivation, so we have a lot of data what happens if we have not a lot of sleep. So the data, there is a study, 48 healthy adults. They split them into 3 groups by how much they slept. And every day for 2 weeks they were tested. Focus, reaction speed, thinking. So 3 groups. One is 8 hours of sleep per night. The second one is 6 hours. The third one is 4 hours. The 8-hour group stayed steady, of course. The 6 hours group showed the same result as people who skipped 2 nights of sleep. They gave worse and worse results day by day for 2 weeks. The 4-hour group dropped even faster. Less sleep, bigger drop. This diagram shows the key idea of this video. This vertical line shows how people are well, and this horizontal one, days of experiment. This straight line, which goes down, is test result. People came to this experiment healthy, so tests showed that they're well. And day by day, sleeping 6 hours per day, the whole time of experiment, their test results were worse and worse. The second line is how people felt like. Of course, they came to the test feeling healthy, feeling well. So they have a similar start point. After 2-3 nights of 6 hours of sleep, people said they felt a bit worse than usual. So they felt this sleep deprivation on their body and they recognized it. So few first day we see this curve that they agree that they don't feel that well when they came. But day after day, their answers became, I'm fine. Actually, I feel the same as yesterday. What I mean, how they feel dropped a bit few days and then stopped and became a straight line. And this zone where people don't really understand what happens with their body is dangerous zone, because usually adults sleep 6 hours per day and they think that they're absolutely fine. You might say, okay, I will have these 6 hours per night during the work days, but during the weekend, I will have much more sleep and I will compensate the sleep debt. Firstly, again, the small research. They again had 3 groups. One group slept enough. Second group had something like this when they had not enough sleep during the weekdays, and during the weekend they could sleep how long they want. And the third group just slept not enough the whole experiment. And what they measured, that the second group who slept like this actually had a bit worse results than the group who slept for 5 hours the whole time. And they gave an explanation that it could be because this roller coaster mode with your sleep schedule can mess up with the hormone system, with your body in general, because it's a small jet lag every week. Even if this research is not good and they will prove it wrong, hear me out. During the work days, you have sleep deprivation. And during weekends, you kind of compensate it. And still, even if our body regenerate much better than this experiment shows. We still have 5 days of sleep deprivation. We still have not that much energy. Our body suffers a bit. So even if data is not correct, just looking at this week when you have normal 2 days out of 7, for me, it is not enough and worth to put the sleep as high priority. And now I would appreciate if you hit a like, subscribe, and a small bell button. Now the part you stayed for. The first game changing tip is fixed bedtime. Not wake up time, bedtime. How fast we fell asleep usually depends on body clock. When you go to sleep at one time, your body clock adjusts to the schedule. Right before you're getting to sleep, your wake window closes and your sleep window opens. Here's a trick I learned years ago and works like a charm. Set alarm not at your wake up time, but at the time you want to go to sleep. For example, mine is set at 9:30 p.m. every day for years, and this time means that I put all my tasks for a day aside and just starting preparing for a sleep. I need about 30 minutes to get ready, to have some washing routine, and then I have 30 minutes reading before the bed. And usually 10:30, 11, I am asleep. The best part comes in the morning because I wake up when I really rested. Usually I wake up about 7:30, 15 minutes back and forth, but sometimes my body needs more rest. And not that long time ago, I woke up at 9:30, which for me it is crazy late, but I felt so rested. I needed it. Maybe I had intensive workout or just a lot of stress. I don't really know. I don't reflect on it, but giving my body the ability to take amount of hours it needs and not create fake boundaries for myself, it is a blessing actually. This tip works like a charm if you don't need to wake up early for work or other things in your life. But if you have to wake up earlier, you still can achieve it. It will just probably will take a bit more time to adjust the system just for you. And this idea of changing the way we look to alarm from waking us up to helping going to sleep at the time we need to go, it is actually a game changer. Because if we wanted to wake up, for example, at 7 and we usually wake up at 10 or 11 or 9, we tend to set alarm at 7 and face sleep deprivation for such long period of time because our habits not to go to bed earlier conflict with this new idea of waking up earlier, and just changing the way you look at the alarm will help you a lot to create the system you want to see in your life. Second tip, if you didn't have the proper night's sleep, you can have a power nap, but not more than 20 minutes. Otherwise, you'll sink into deep sleep and wake up wrecked. But if you have insomnia, it is recommended to skip day naps. Tip number 3, the last hour before the bed. What is essential is temperature and lighting. Try to avoid bright lights. And of course, you heard about it. Just try not to use your phone because it has a lot of blue light, which messes up with our hormones. So try to stay away from the phone at least 1 hour before the bed. And when you get used to not having this bright light from the lamps or from the phone, you will find that it's ridiculous to have something like that right before the bed because you are so used to not have the stimulators. So you just cannot imagine how you would just use this bright light or your phone or scrolling the short videos. What about temperature? It is recommended to have 16 or 18 degrees during the sleep. And by the way, during this summer, I tracked with my Aura ring that as soon as temperature rised, I started to restore not as good as I restored during the whole year. Tip number 4. I was surprised when I found out that coffee hits different people differently. One liver enzyme handles the most of the caffeine, about 95%, and If we have a lot of this enzyme, you can absorb caffeine in 2 hours. But some people cannot absorb caffeine for more than a day. I tested that when I drink coffee after 3 p.m., I cannot fall asleep that well. It takes a bit more time. If I drink coffee after 6, I literally cannot fall asleep. So you can discover for yourself what amount of coffee at what time disturbs your sleep or not. And just know for yourself that I can drink 2 cups of coffee before, I don't know, 3 p.m. as I do. And you can find out that, for example, you can drink 3 cups of coffee before 5 and you're gonna be fine. So there is no unique answer for everyone. Just test it for yourself. Let me wrap it up. We don't know why we sleep. We do know what is going to happen to our body if we don't sleep. We know that paying sleep debt on the weekends doesn't work. And even if it worked, you still have 5 days of your body not working properly. This leads to the conclusion that we may put the sleep as a priority in our lives. And to do so, it's easier to set a bedtime timer rather than a morning alarm. Sleep is one of the clearest examples how well-being is not a luck. That's the whole idea behind this channel. Well-being isn't a luck, it's a system, and when we figure out how it works, we can fix it. And let me know in the comments how many hours of sleep you usually get during the night. And thank you for watching. See ya.